And I remember my husband coming to me before he goes to work one time, and he says, if you kill yourself, you're still going to heaven. I'm not sure why, but that helped for a little bit. But the ideology got worse before it got better, of course. Then it was like, kill your sons. You need to kill your sons. Not only are you going to kill your animals, you're going to kill your sons. And I was like, I can't do that. I have to die. I can't do this. I'm laying in bed one night. These things are hitting me. These thoughts are just like coming at me, left and right. And I'm laying in bed. I'm crying out to God. I'm like going, God, you have to save me. You have to save me because I can't do this. And I remember I'm laying there and they're just talking to me and they're at me. And they're just like, kill yourself, kill your family, kill your animals, kill everybody, death, 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 death. And I was just like, ah. And all of a sudden, this like lightness came on. And all of a sudden, God came and he said, let me see if I can get here, because I got to tell you the right words. He said, Satan wants to destroy my family to keep them from serving him. And I was like, boom. And it was like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what happened. He was trying to get me to destroy my family so that they wouldn't serve him. And I was like, the suicidal thoughts went away. The homicidal thoughts went away. Everything, it was like this peace hit me. Like it overwhelmed me so much that I couldn't even go into my therapy appointment. I had to call her because I was so overwhelmed with just like this, like, whoa, this happened. And now you have to understand that when you are suicidal for years, and we're talking, 15 years at this time frame, about I've been suicidal with all these thoughts, you're like scared of the change. What's going to happen when I'm not suicidal? And you're scared of that. And it's like, when it happens, though, it's the most freeing and most peaceful thing that you have ever experienced in your life. It's just like, boom, it's not there anymore. There's no more voices telling me to kill myself. There's no more, constantly, you have to die today type of thing. And it was just amazing and so peaceful. And I was just so grateful at that time. So we had been going in and out of churches at this time because I wasn't, I was struggling with all of these things that I would try to get involved in church, and then I would be out of church, and I'd be back in church, and then I'd be out of church. But the only blessing I can say about that is that my husband took my sons to church on Sundays and on Wednesdays. And so he was the one who really, really kept them involved with God. And I'm praising God right now that all my sons are saved. So that is a praise right there. But anyway, we move on from there. Just massive release of that. And I get about 2 years of that peace. And then my husband get diagnosed with Lyme disease. This man has been my rock. He has protected me. He has loved me. He had gotten me through all of this stuff. And now he's got Lyme disease. Now, this is not a death sentence. And what's really sad is he'd had it for over 20 years. We just didn't know it. But he was getting sicker, and it was getting in his brain, and it was in his body and stuff. And so he started going downhill. This was very hard for me because you have to understand, he was doing things for me on the daily. He was serving me. And it quit. I mean, he couldn't do it anymore. He was getting sicker. He had chronic fatigue. He was in pain all the time. And he was feeling like he had to do it, but he was like struggling because he was sleeping, and then he couldn't sleep, and then he was awake. So we're struggling. I get really sort of like, well, this isn't the best marriage that I want, you know, and God has to get a hold of me, and he does. He gets a hold of me, and he's like going, your husband has served you. It's now your turn to serve him. I was like, okay, now this took me probably 2 weeks to get there, but, one big conversation with God and, realizing, what would needed to happen, I took over. I started doing the things with my parents. I started doing the things with my grandparents. I started taking care of the kids more and letting him have the time that he needed to rest and just what he needed to do. And so this started several years of just him being sick and going downhill. So we find out, and then about 5 years later, he had had several treatments and everything, and he was just going downhill, constantly. The pain was so bad, and his mental capacity was going down. And one day, forgive me if I cry, this hurts. In 2013, we were staying in the bedroom with him a lot, and it was me and my 3 sons and my husband, and I'm in bed with him, and a young man that I call my brother is living with us, and he asked my youngest son to go get something. He was like, I had to do this. He had to go get me something, and I was telling Christian what to do, and my other 2 sons are talking to my husband, and my husband picks up a gun that just happened to be there. Now, this man was a military man. This man knew better than this, but he points that gun at his head, and it goes off. We had to go to the hospital, and they told us that it had done what bullets do. I'm praising God that I'm still here because I was sitting next to him. It stayed in his brain. It did not, go out the other side. It only went one point of entry. I guess it was the type of bullet. But I had to go home that night. And I had been taking medicine. As I said, I'm, bipolar, and this medicine, if I didn't sleep, it made me very sick. And I knew I couldn't be sick up there. And I was like, I had to go home. And so I went home that night, and I talked to God again. I wrestled with God. I'm like, well, what am I going to do? If he lives, this is going to be, it's going to be really hard. I don't know if I can handle that, Lord, but I don't want to lose him either. And I wrestled with God that night, all night long. And I went back to the hospital the next day with my mom, and they told me that they had done the test and he was brain dead. And I told them that I wouldn't want to live in that state because he was on life support. And I said, I'm not doing that to him. And so I told them to take him off life support. When we got everybody there, were around him, and he lived after they took him off life support for maybe a few minutes at most, and he was gone. There was no movements, no nothing. It was just like he was gone. And now I'm like on my own with 3 sons, and I'm like, all I've got, and it's like not all, but all I've got is God to get me through this. And God was providing like daily. He provided the money that we need from losing my husband's job. He provided the insurance we needed. He was just like, it was like every step of the way, God was like providing. It's like money that we needed to keep going, money that would be monthly. He provided money that my husband insurance was able to pay off my home. It was just like daily. And now we have gone from me depending on my husband and my husband's prayers and my husband's like devotion. It's now my prayers and my devotion to God, because there has to be a head of the home, and my children or my sons were young, and we had some other issues, some other mental health issues that they were going through, but so God was there the whole time. And that happened in 2013, as I said. We made it through. God saw us through. And then, I did grieve a lot. I'm not a big crier. I've become more of a crier lately. But in 2020, the COVID hit. And I went downhill. I sort of started isolating myself. I didn't want to go out and stuff. I was still going out, but I didn't want to go out as much. And my dad got sick. In 2016, he was diagnosed with cancer. And I knew that at that time I cried horribly, grieving his loss, even though he had not died, which is a grateful thing. I found that long grief, saying goodbye over a long period of time, makes it easier to grieve somebody when they actually do pass. So in 2020, I isolated myself. I stopped going out as much. And then in 2022, I got sick. And then I couldn't go out as much. And then in 2023, my dad died. And then I wasn't driving. I wasn't doing anything. I had to depend on my family, my sons, to help me. And my mother and stuff, just to help me through things. And all this time, God is doing these little things, guiding me here, guiding me there. I mean, life with God is not like all God all the time. It's like God doing these, like, unless you're like with him every moment of every day, like he asks us to be, it's sort of times of just like falling away, coming back, falling away, coming back. And that's how I've been living my life, is these little periods of time of falling away, coming back. Well, so we're getting into 2023. I got sort of addicted to pornography, books. And I never understood that addiction, and I had to get out of that. And I'm sick. I can't drive, but God is like using these things. I told my husband one time that God uses everything. He uses the newspaper. He uses everything to get to us. He even used those silly pornographic books to get to me, to tell me about like relationships and how that they're not God's relationships, and how they put a spin on sex and relationships that's not supposed to be there, like they're supposed to be perfect and the end all and be all and all you need, because that's not all you need is a relationship. You actually need God to fulfill you. But these books try to tell you that that's all you need. Romance books, anything like that, movies, TV, all they do is try to tell you that all you need is a sexual relationship or a boyfriend or a girlfriend or whatever. That's not it. And it's like a masking for God. But anyway, I'm sick. I'm going down. There's these trials and tribulations hitting me. I'm getting more sick. I can't drive. My dad has passed away. My mom is pulling away because she's sad. She's grieving herself. And in 2023, I can't drive. And then all of a sudden in 2024, I start doing a little bit better. But at that time, I had started with the YouVersion app. If you guys have not heard of that app, you need to find it. It's got all the versions of the Bibles. It's got Bible plans in it. It's just like, it was just what I needed. A Bible verse a day, plus a little thing that was like, what about the Bible verse, a devotional. Then it started having the plans, and it's got daily Bibles through the year plans. And it's just like, it was what I needed, because I wasn't going to church. Even though I had been going to church, I had gotten away from church again. But God is like so good that he's still pulling me back all through this. And I started praying more. I started spending more time with God. I started becoming more peaceful. Now, in 2025, we're at the end of 2025. God is teaching me that he's there for me every day, every moment, and that I have to be, you'll have to excuse me, I have to plug myself in. I have to be there for him and to do his will and to serve him the way he wants me to serve him. Not the way I want to serve him, the way he wants me to serve him. And even though I'm sick and I'm mostly at home, I feel better. I feel more peaceful. But that's because God has become more and more part of my life. And it's been a slow growth, not a, oh, boom, I'm all there for God. It's been like that first little bit of being a child and knowing I wanted God. And then him calling me back little by little and pulling me closer and closer until now that I just had my birthday, and I'm like going, I'm here. And that I'm the closest I have ever been to him after, 50 years. And so if you think that you are like, that you're like not close enough to him right now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to get closer to him. That you're not going to grow. Because that's what it is about life. Life is not about all or nothing. It's all about growth. It's all about becoming closer to our Lord and Savior. And it's all about, learning about him. I've been learning more and more, especially over the past 2 years. And I've become more peaceful. I've become more stable emotionally. I might not feel good, but God didn't promise us that we're going to feel good all the time. God did not promise us, you've got Paul in prison, was not in comfort. But you know what? He'll get us through even the hard times, even the dry periods in our lives, the demonic, oppression, and he'll get us through it if you just hold on. And it's not a year by year, month by month, week by week. It is literally second by second, minute by minute, your life is. So live your life minute by minute. I just wanted to say thank you to a couple of sites that have been very helpful to me, and that have helped me through getting closer to God over the past few years. I want to really thank Courtney daily for putting this in my ear to tell her my story. So I'm telling you my story. Again, YouVersion app is just really awesome. TrentTribe, Brian Trent has given me so much wisdom and little bitty snippets of it. And I have just learned so much from him and so much encouragement from him. I have J.John. He is a evangelist, and I think that's what we all need to uh, ascribe to perpetuate God's glory and God's bringing God to other people, and that's what he does, and he shows people how to do that through his work. And wise disciple Nate Salda, if I say your name wrong, I'm sorry, but I just listened to you, and I've been listening to you for the past couple of years, and your wisdom and your thoughts and stuff have been so inspiring, and like I needed that. I've been praying for more knowledge, wisdom from God, and listening to you has been inspiring, and I appreciate it. And the last one that I want to thank, and you probably won't hear this, but is my church, community church here in Texas. They're a small non-denominational church, but they have been such a blessing to me and my family. So, just focus on what God has for you next. The Lord bless you. The Lord keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you. I hope that you're blessed. And if this reaches just like one person, that's all that's important to me. You guys have a blessing. And thank you for listening.